Guoqiang, I'm very happy that we can spend some time together.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me here. It's always nice to talk to good friends like you, and also our audience here tonight.
So what I would like to understand, because Tongwei is a really interesting company. You're a market leader, world market leader in 2 segments, in silicon and in cells, and now you're moving into modules. So let's try to understand a little bit where you are and why you do what you're planning to do. So let's maybe start very much upstream. Silicon was for the last few years a real great cash cow for companies, and because I think there was a bottleneck and there was a lot of expansion taking place. I think you have expanded dramatically, and if I look at the numbers, it's still mind-boggling where you want to go in the next few years when we see what Jason showed. So can you just explain a little bit where you come from with silicon and where you're planning to go? How do you see that part of the business for Tongwei?
Yeah, I think Tongwei started the polysilicon business maybe in 2006, and we have our own technology. Those that the new capacities we are ramping up. We have the so-called the 8th generation of the Guoqiang method. So we have the really the lowest energy consumption with the best quality. So, and also the timing for the capacity expansion also gave us really the higher market share in 2022. So I think Jason said by the end of last year, our overall capacity for polysilicon reached 230 metric tons. But this year, we are going to increase it to 350 metric tons. And we have even more ambitious expansion plans for the next 2 to 3 years.
And your strategy is how does it go? Because I think you also teamed up for some of the capacity with some other players to build that. If I
yes, we want to expand our capacity with our strategic partners. So for some of the new plants, we do have some minority shares which are belonging to our customers. This is part of our strategy.
Yeah, maybe if we look at the silicon segment, prices have dropped quite a bit in the last month, especially towards the end of the year. So how do you see that? Where are you worried, or are you just were expecting that? Because of course everyone knew that a lot of capacity was coming up. A lot of people were expecting actually prices to come down much earlier than they finally came, but it was a pretty steep decrease. Huh?
Yeah, I think it's market driven, right? It's a balance between supply and demand. So if with the new capacities being released, you are going to have some price drop, but then the lower price will stimulate a bigger market. So if you check the price for the last week or so, I think the price has the polysilicon price has really jumped back up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's market driven. So we are not worried about the price. So we want to be the best, most competitive producer for polysilicon. Thus we can.
And I think it's great actually that this is happening, because I think for a while it was a bottleneck. If we think about the learning curve, I think we will see probably a terawatt market before a global annual terawatt market before the end of 2030. So we will need a lot of silicon. So it's actually great that you continue to expand. Then your other leg is cell production. You established yourself as mostly a cell producer, so silicon cells, hardly any modules and no wafers, ingots. So how do you see that cell business? How does it fit into your strategy?
Yeah, so Tongwei acquired the asset from LDK back in 2013. So it took us 9 years, and we shipped, I think, over 100 gigawatts of solar cells accumulatively, and becomes the world's largest cell supplier. So we have been a pure cell player, but when we acquired the asset from LDK, I also have the module part. So we have been doing module R&D and module production. It's just that the volume is not that high, but we shipped, I think, a multi-gigawatts of single modules last year. But right now we want to really expand our business into module and become vertically integrated.
But when we look at, let's stay a few more minutes with the cell side, you became the largest player. I think you became a very well-known, great brand for solar cells, especially if we look at outside China. There are a lot of module manufacturers who rely on you and they appreciate your quality. So how does that, how do you see yourself also in the future? Do you still want to serve pure module makers with your products?
Yeah, I think the answer is definitely yes. If you look at our capacity expansion plan, I think our cell production volume will be higher than our module. So I think we will continue to serve our pure module customers with the Tongwei quality cells.
And that will also be across the different technologies in which we talk later. But I think so that means external module manufacturers can also buy your high efficiency cells. So as you progress actually into new technologies, you will also offer it to other companies.
Oh, definitely. We are selling our cells in PERCs, in HAT, and in TOPCon. So that's for sure.
Okay. So when you look at, because you were last year the first company to pass the 100 gigawatt cell shipments level, when you look at your learnings from the solar cell segment and you simply want to summarize the trends you've been seeing actually for cells in general, what were the 3 most remarkable trends you've seen over 2022?
Oh, firstly, I think PERC remains as the predominant product, but the wafer size has shifted, right? I think the 158 is almost completed out. The 166 M6 is in the process of being phased out. So you are going to see the 182 and 210 wafer size being the predominant product. So I think that's happening in PERC. The second big happening last year probably is the emergence of TOPCon. I think today's presentations, right? Everybody is talking about tens of gigawatts of TOPCon expansion. So I think this is really happening. The third one is HAT is also making a lot of voice. We have many players jumping into the HJT regime. So I think it's a rapid changing year in technology for solar cells.
Yeah, and I think it's cell wafers, but nevertheless, what I found interesting is also, of course, that a lot of people were seeing, okay, first we go to M6, then we have M10, and then we have G12, and then actually some people were saying, okay, everything is now rushing to G12. We heard that also this morning from Anis. But I wonder, is this really the case? Because it was an interesting move, for example, that Trina has made with their G12R, which is somewhat of a step back, right? To basically get a little bit closer to M10, because it's a sort of combination to fit into the standard width that M10 is having. So what are you seeing there in terms of development?
Yeah, it's in terms of sizing, I think right now it's kind of chaotic, right? So, but I think everything will settle. There will be some niche product for niche application, but I think over a long term, I think the mainstream product will remain and will emerge. So if you look in the past, when we migrated from M2 to M6, or either mono or multi, there are a lot of concerns with the bigger format of modules. But what happened now, right? So I think it's all LCOE driven. Technology will mature. So I still like the bigger modules, the 210, 66 half cut module for utility scale power generation. The per watt production cost is lower, right? So the BOS cost is lower. The LCOE is lower. So I mean, personally, I think the bigger module will prevail.
Do you think G12, so 210, is the end from a technology point of view, or is can we go beyond that?
Oh, Michael, knowing the industry so well, so we need to be very cautious to say something that is the end. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think there were already some attempts, right, to go a little bit beyond that. So, but the question is if mass production goes in this direction. Okay. When you quick module production. So you said you sort of inherited also module production when you took over the LDK assets, but now you're really increasing dramatically also modules. If I look at the slide from Jason, I think 2023 you will have actually, I don't know, 80 gigawatt module capacity and 100 gigawatt cell capacity. So that's getting somewhat close. And for you, that means also huge expansion from the 14 gigawatt you had in 2022, right? So why now and why so massive?
I think we expand our capacity based on our technology excellence, manufacturing excellence. So for Tongwei, it has 40 years of proven track record. Whatever they do, they want to be the biggest, they want to be the best. I think with module, we have accumulated enough know-how, and I think we understand the technology, understand the product. By building up such big volume of capacity within a year, actually we can enjoy the so-called latecomer advantage, right? So if you listen to the previous speakers talking on module technology, we can enjoy most of that. I mean, with the latest, best equipment, with the best, latest technologies. And also, of course, with the Tongwei cells inside. I mean, everybody knows we have the best quality solar cells. So that gives us that much of confidence in expanding our capacity, become a major player in the module business.
Okay, so before we go a little bit into different technologies, I wanted to touch basically the last part of the vertical integration, which is small and where you don't have plans to expand. There were also questions in the chat on that. So why not increase also at least somewhat the ingot and wafering part?
Well, I mean, 15 gigawatts wafering and ingot pulling capacity is not small. If we can have the opportunity, if we have the good technology, I think we will expand our capacity. But for the time being, we stay put with 15 gigawatt.
You're right. If I look at Europe and America, it's this capacity is probably still 10 times as much as the two continents have combined at the moment. So, okay. If we look and here you basically partner then actually on the wafering level with others, because of course through all this integration, there's also partners are turning more and more into competitors. Are you seeing challenges with that?
For the polysilicon you already mentioned, we are partner with our customers, and for the wafer and ingot, we are also partner with some key customers as well.
Okay, and you have also long-term partnerships there in this segment.
Yeah, they own some of the companies. I mean, for wafer and the ingot.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the two technologies. As you said, everything was about TOPCon, and maybe. Yeah, let's talk about maybe TOPCon and HJT at the same time, because you were one of the first to really invest also into a very big pilot line for HJT and put a lot of research into that. So you also just mentioned that we're seeing quite something happening in the HJT business. When came the point when you decided, okay, we rather go TOPCon now rather than HJT? Because there are not many, but a few of the bigger companies who are also thinking, okay, we go HJT.
From the R&D point of view, I think everybody understands that TOPCon and HJT are the top choices for beyond PERC technology. So we have been very active in developing TOPCon and HJT technology. It's just that we started the HJT earlier. And for TOPCon, we started with the most challenging technology. We started with G12, bigger wafer size, right? And also we started with PECVD for polysilicon and tunneling oxide deposition. So those key equipment are the very first set for the equipment suppliers. So we need to really finding and solving all the problems associated with this technology. So then we shifted from 210 from G12 to M10. That's
Okay.
for TOPCon. And then for HJT, we have two R&D pilot lines, each with 250 megawatt of annual capacity. And then we have built the China's very first 1 gigawatt HJT line. So we started with M6, and we are in the process of upgrading to G12, and also with the nanocrystalline deposition technology for the polysilicon, for the passivation silicon.
And
right now, it's
sorry, and these products will be also commercially available as cells individually, or
we have been selling the M6 HJT cells, and customers are also coming to us to buy the 210 HJT cells. But also we are going to develop our own HJT module products.
Okay. Is that, can you reveal for when that's planned, or is that too early?
It's not too early. I think for HJT into multi-gigawatt production, we still need to do a few things, right? If you ask me what are the bottlenecks, I would say there are only 3 bottlenecks, right? The first one is cost. The second one is cost. The third one is also cost. So for us, I mean, we have already demonstrated 720 watts of HJT modules. So it has quite a gap above the TOPCon module in terms of wattage. So if we can reduce the cost by employing new metallization technologies, or some even new module technologies, I think we have a good chance of ramping up the HJT technology in an even bigger scale.
But if you look at especially the cost parameter, and you have the comparison also with HJT and TOPCon, what do you think, when will it make economical sense? Because I think if you look probably at the rooftop market, it doesn't matter so much, because here the big chunk is the installation costs, and if people have if you can brand it nicely as a somewhat higher efficiency, it probably works. That's also how I understand the HJT companies in the market are advertising and selling their products. But how? What do you think actually there can be a big jump so that you can actually decrease that cost gap, which is in the 2-digit sense, as I understand, percentages, sorry. When can that be closed, or somewhat at least?
Yeah, I think it will take some time, right? It's silver, indium, all those things. So a copper does not come easily. So it takes a lot of R&D effort to get to that point of replacing silver paste. But I think we are not the only one developing the copper plating technology. So I think with more effort, with time, it's going to come to a point that we are going to see a more competitive, cost-effective HJT technology.
But that means, okay, we're as we've seen, PERC is still there. The production capacities are there. It will take also a while until we move to TOPCon, which will be the next standard technology. Today was mostly talk about TOPCon, although of course a lot of the production is still PERC. But
Yeah, so Michael, I want to make a point. If I look back to our own cost and performance projections 12 or 18 months ago with regard to PERC, I think we grossly underestimated the rate for PERC technology to reduce its cost and also improving the performance. So that will make the PERC technology competitive. And that is why for the high volume TOPCon production, we have to go very aggressively in reducing silver paste consumption, in reducing the wafer thickness. So it's really, you can enjoy a module premium, but the cost delta between PERC and TOPCon is still some kind of concern for all of us.
Okay, and because several people were saying, okay, so there's nothing to get on the efficiency level, at least for PERC anymore, but at least if you looked at the modules, it was quite impressive still that, I don't know, so the best ones are at 21.7, and I think there's probably still some leeway, and the costs could be also decreased. But are you seeing now somewhat an end finally, or do you think there might be again surprises so that it can live even longer?
From the technology side, you can calculate LCOE, you can calculate the speed for the efficiency ramp, but the real world is all about competition, right? So right now we are talking about over 200 gigawatts of TOPCon cells in production plus being built. Some people will predict there will be maybe over 300 gigawatts of TOPCon production in 12 to 18 months, right? So with that kind of volume rushing into the market, it definitely will challenge the PERC's competitiveness or the market share.
Okay. So from a technology point of view, so if you look into the crystal ball for 2023, it just started. In China, it's started just basically now, the new year. So what are you seeing for this year from a technology point of view for solar? The demand is there. I think there's no doubt.
Yeah, I think for this year and maybe for next year, I think the technology evolution will be at a very fast pace. So we need to improve the TOPCon technology, no matter it's LP or PCVD. So the premium need to be at a reasonable level, so that the EPC players and also the module manufacturers can really benefit from the new technology. So it will take some time to settle. HJT, there are a lot of attention paid to this technology, and you heard the multi-gigawatt capacity expansion announcement from different players. So I think from production and from marketing, so HJT definitely will try to come into the mainstream.
Okay, maybe the final question. So what do you envision basically for Tongwei's solar module brand for this year when you now come with all this capacity? So how do you see Tongwei as a company at the end of the year?
We want to be a major player, right, in the regime of module. And I think our customers, the previous customers, and also maybe the new module customers will know and will know Tongwei better, that we have quality, right? So for the polysilicon, we have the best quality solar cell, and for the module, I think we also have the best quality, because in Tongwei, our management stress on the daily basis, right? So safety is first, then quality is second, then comes the rest. So it's in the blood, in the gene of the company. So I think we will produce quality module product. We are sure of that.
I think the market is excited about that, and so am I. Thanks a lot for this nice conversation.
Thank you, Michael. Very nice. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, and see you soon in Shanghai.
China, yes.